You already know this bit, but sometime in the 2020s, two geeks from across social media formed an alliance to bring you geek news from across the Nostalgiaverse. They are Jacob's Toys and SuperSorrell. Together, they have been bringing you the weekly live show, Geek Week in Review, every Sunday. But sometimes, something takes place during the week that requires their full attention. No schedule and no time slot, just an impromptu live stream. Welcome to Geek Week Plus, the bonus show.
Love that so much.
We got a new Geek Week Plus intro, like logo in and everything. Look at that. Look at that. Hello. Welcome to the Geek Week Plus with me, Jacob's Toys, and of course, the wonderful one and only SuperSorrell. How you doing, buddy? All right?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. Hello to everyone that's watching. Yes, there's some comments popping off here. We've got quite a bit to talk about, so we thought we'd jump on and do a Geek Week Plus this week. This doesn't take place of the regular show. That'll still be going ahead on Sunday with Mr. Steve Evans joining us, which will be very cool indeed. And I believe he's going to be joining us for the whole show.
Yeah, so we kind of needed to do a little bit of an impromptu catch up because there was so much to discuss today. But Stevie tends to take over the show when he's on, so and we love going with his flow of madness. So we thought we'd jump on tonight and do a little bit of a quick update live stream with everything that's happened this week.
Definitely. So where do we even start? There's been some really good news. There's been some not so good news. There's been some interesting news. Where should we start?
Well, I can already see from looking in the camera that I already hate how my hair looks in this video because I've had a shower and it's all floppy and I don't like it and it's late at night and we just have to deal with this little floppy bit over here that's just not sticking down. Right.
Welcome to the Geek Week Plus where SuperSorrell questions his vanity.
Because it wobbles every time I move. Ah, dear. We've got some people in the chat. I can't believe it. It's 10:30 at night and people are still here.
I know. I'm surprised. The numbers are creeping up as well on the viewers, which is quite interesting. We didn't expect that many people to be jumping on because it is a late one. But as we said, for anyone that has just joined us, we are doing this just because we've got Steve Evans on the show on Sunday. So we just wanted to kind of talk about what's been going on with Hasbro, with reveals, with McFarlane, and just kind of get all that kind of new stuff out of the way and kind of talked about. Let's start with the go on.
Go on. Well, I was going to say, do you want to start with the bad news first?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Let's start with the bad stuff so far. So obviously Hasbro have let go a what was it? 10%?
20%. So Hasbro announced that they'll be cutting an additional 20% of its global workforce over the next year to cuts. This was out via the Wall Street Journal and Reuters. Between 900 to 1,100 jobs will sadly be cut. Reasoning given is the slowdown of toy sales post-COVID and the continued strong, the slowdown of toy sales post-COVID. Obviously, during COVID, we had that nice big boost of collectors in the market, but sadly, those have dropped off over time, and obviously that's caused Hasbro a little bit of grief.
Yeah, and obviously the thing to bear in mind as well is that when it comes to it being Hasbro, that's not just your Marvel Legends, Star Wars Black Series, G.I. Joes, all that kind of stuff. Like Hasbro's a big company, so it's obviously going to be people across the board. But it's never nice to hear any company kind of downsizing or letting people go. That's never good. But yeah, like you said, I mean, there was a huge boost in the collector market during COVID.
Yeah.
Like we noticed that in groups, we noticed that in kind of forums and on things like Reddit and stuff. Like people were they were stuck at home, weren't they, picking up new hobbies and stuff. So it was cool. It was cool for a time, but yeah, we always knew that it was going to kind of go back to how it was, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's sad. They've not really specified kind of particular departments or anything like that, have they? They've just kind of
it could be from any department anywhere around the world as well, because don't forget they're a global company. They have offices in the UK, China, America. They have offices everywhere on the globe.
Yeah.
So it could be marketing teams, it could be It could be customer service staff for all we know. It could be call center workers. They've got a mixture of everything going on. They're a global company.
I read somewhere it works out about 1,100 people, I think.
Yeah,
in total.
that's what I've just read out here. It was 1,100, between 900 to 1,100 people. So that's not a massive drop for a global company like Hasbro. That it's still obviously a sad loss. It's a lot of people, but on the grand scheme of things, it could have been worse.
The other thing as well, like, you know, I'm not picking sides with it, anything like this, but the other thing that I read as well is that I think you just mentioned it. It's not like an immediate overnight thing, is it? They've got like a slow kind of workout. I think it's 18 to 24 months or something like that. And they're, you know, obviously looking to help place people and stuff. It's all the kind of typical kind of spiel that you would get with a company kind of saying that they're going to look after people best they can.
Yeah, to be fair, it might be certain departments and certain job roles they've let go, which those people might get transitioned into other roles. I mean, like that happened with me with my day job. A certain role that I was doing was no longer needed. Rather than make us all obsolete, they just kind of shoved us in different departments all around the business. So
yeah,
it could be one of those situations as well. Hopefully, all being well, so nobody is out on the job at Christmas.
No, I think the interesting part to take from it, though, and the bit that I definitely kind of that I heard in it was the decline in toy sales, and that reflects very much what we're seeing at the moment. When you kind of, if we just specifically look at like the collector market, like the Marvel Legends, Black Series, Power Rangers, etc. Over the last 6 to 12 months, we've seen things going up on sale. We've seen things showing up in discount stores. We've seen people getting out of the collector kind of hobby and stuff. So things have definitely kind of changed a little bit over the last kind of year.
Yeah.
So I'm not shocked. I'm not surprised. It's just, it's interesting.
Those things, sadly.
Yeah.
On to bigger and nicer things to discuss. We had the weirdest team up in history this week.
I know.
Hasbro McFarlane.
I never saw this one coming.
Not at all.
Never saw this one coming.
But I tell you what, I'm excited about it.
Stug in the chat just said, I think it's crazy, McFarlane teamed up with Hasbro. Just before we started talking about this. Shelley naming it McHasbro. Sounds like a festive McDonald's burger, McHasbro. Yeah, I mean, this is the page punchers, isn't it? This is the page puncher line that that McFarlane have been putting out. So they're 4-inch figures that come with a comic and come with an articulated figure in 4-inch scale, and that is the team up, isn't it?
Yeah, can we just be the first ones that say we called this about 2 weeks ago?
We did.
We said the future is 3 3/4 inch highly articulated, which is what those page punchers are, aren't they?
Yeah,
aren't they like little posable tiny versions of the big things?
Yeah, basically.
So just for everyone in the chat as well, that doesn't mean that McFarlane are going to suddenly start pumping out Marvel and Star Wars. It's not those franchises, sadly. It's the ones that Hasbro physically own themselves. So that it applies to the lines of Transformers, Power Rangers, G.I. Joe, and Dungeons and Dragons. I can't believe Hasbro have let somebody else take on Transformers and G.I. Joe, to be honest. That's a big deal, especially because G.I. Joe, they already do kind of a 3-inch line themselves.
Yeah. I mean, I think the selling point here is the comic book, and I think that if I was to be a gambling man, I'd say that this is probably a bit of a test for Hasbro, and I think that they will team up with McFarlane, do page punchers, see how good they are, and if they do work, they'll probably push out their own version of the product. That's my guess.
Can you imagine the powerhouse if this works and Hasbro and McFarlane team up to approach Marvel about doing 3 3/4 inch Marvel Legends with a comic book attached, like the old days, and even Star Wars again, because Marvel produced the Star Wars ones. So that would mean on the back of a packaging for the first time you would see the words Hasbro, McFarlane, Marvel, Star Wars all on one packaging.
That'd be mental, wouldn't it?
Because if the Marvel comic would produce the Star Wars book, McFarlane producing the Hasbro toy, that would be mental. But I could see him doing it if it works.
I honestly don't think it'll get that far. I think that Hasbro will test the water with their own brands, and if it works, they will create their own product, their own version of it. and they'll push out the Marvel and the Star Wars from themselves, because they're already paying like a licensing fee and stuff, aren't they?
Yeah.
So
I think personally this will be for the Dungeons and Dragons line. This will be the Saturday morning cartoon versions, 3¾ inch, I think, because the comic books for that are already in production with Boom Studios, I think it is, and they do like a Saturday morning comic. It's called of Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
So I could see them just bundling that comic with the figures, kind of thing. Same with Transformers, GI Joe, Power Rangers. Boom Studios make all those comics.
Yeah.
Or Image Comics. It's Boom and Image, I think, and it's the main two. They kind of produce all of the comics for those lines. So
yeah,
they could just bundle the comic books from Boom Studios in with a Power Rangers figure. But I'm excited because that might mean I might get to add another Draken to my shelf.
Yeah.
You'd never have too many Drakens.
No. Yeah, I mean, so brands like that I think would be really cool. And the thing to bear in mind as well is that Hasbro teaming up with other lines isn't a new thing. This isn't a brand new. This isn't the first time Hasbro has ever teamed up with another brand or anything like that. Like if you look at anything that is related to any of those kind of the brands that Hasbro own, obviously they're team ups essentially. They're that's just what it is. So even like my fan home Transformer, like inside the magazine, every single magazine has the Hasbro logo because it's Transformers at the end of the day. So yeah, it's an interesting one. It is an interesting one. They didn't give any dates or anything, though, did they? They didn't.
So they've said on the press release, product is expected to launch in early 2024 and will be available at mass market retail and specialty retailers.
Oh, okay. So it's going to be early 24. Okay, interesting. I didn't read that far. That's that. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. I'm with you though. I think Dungeons and Dragons is going to be the first one.
Yeah,
I think that's going to be the test in the water with it.
Yeah, so the president of licensed community products at Hasbro has said, from Transformers and GI Joe to Power Rangers, Dungeons and Dragons, and others, they've just said and others, a number of Hasbro brands are known for their rich history and continued storytelling through comics. Page Punchers is a natural extension of these brands, providing all the action and adventure of our multi-generational fans. We can't wait for fans and collectors alike to get their hands on the first Page Punching products, dropping early in 2024. That's by Casey Collins, president of licensing.
I think what is good about that is something that is massively kind of underrated is that having like a physical media that you can read about the characters and get invested in the stories and invested in the kind of characters and universes and stuff like that counts for a lot nowadays, because you've only got to look at the MCU. The reason that Marvel Legends kind of had the huge boom that it did is that because people were going to the cinema and they're watching the MCU films at the time, the kind of Infinity Saga, and that's kind of where that grew from. And nowadays there are a whole bunch of fans and a whole bunch of kind of potential customers that haven't read the backstories, haven't watched that Dungeons and Dragons cartoon from back in the late 80s, early 90s. So to get a figure and a comic book and actually be able to go, oh wow, this character's cool, I'm invested in this, or this isn't for me, makes a massive, like, opens up a massive kind of potential new market.
Massive. Yeah, it's going to be good because that's how all the products back in the day when we were growing up, that's how they all dropped. They all came with comic books bundled with them, or some form of cartoon on television for you to watch to then go and get the figures for.
But that's like, you take it back to, like, if we're taking toy production back to the roots kind of thing. So back to the roots. Toys been around for ages, but I mean kind of action figures.
Yeah.
He-Man, for example, the cartoon that was built around He-Man was basically just a long advert. It was a cartoon built around an action figure brand. The cartoon was there to sell the action figures, but yet people became invested in it because they knew it. There was all the books that came with it, and all of a sudden these He-Man figures were kind of in everybody's stockings, and because it's Christmas, everybody's everybody's kind of request lists and stuff, because it was, you were invested in the characters. You were seeing new characters on stage, on TV, and kind of going, oh, I want this one, or oh, I need that one to go against this one, and stuff like that. So, and we don't have that nowadays. We don't have that. You have action figures coming out that are completely unrelated to anything. Whereas I think it needs to kind of be taken back to the way it was in the 80s, early 90s, where you had this this media that went with the action figures, and I think that's one of the reasons why the X-Men 97 figures are going to do exceptionally well for Marvel, because there's going to be the cartoon to support it. So you're going to have these kids watching the cartoon that are going to want the figures, and maybe not necessarily the Marvel Legends, but even the basic line, but they're going to want the figures of these characters they're seeing on the screen.
Yep.
So yeah, there we go.
Oh, you've mentioned why did you mention He-Man? Because I've just put Skeletor's voice in my head now.
Go on.
Santa knows where all the good boys and girls live, but he does nothing about it till we meet again.
Mate, He-Man was my that was my Bible when growing up. That was where it was at. Which I'm really surprised about, because I don't have any No, I do have He-Man. I have a lot of I have all the new.
You got a bunch of the retro ones, didn't you?
No, not the retro ones. The Revelations ones.
Revelations.
Yeah. So I've got all of those. I've still got to open them up actually. I'm currently on the hunt for an old school Castle Grayskull, because I want to paint it up as like the diorama piece in my display, and that's why I haven't opened any of them yet. But I will. I'll get around to it.
Boys. Right. Onwards.
I was checking out the comments while we're going on. So figure wise, we had the Marvel Legends live stream, didn't we, tonight? Is that where we're going?
Okay. Rein it back a day. Because of obviously the big announcement for the Marvel products. Yeah, we did have a couple of Star Warsy drops this week as well. Some of these were quite, been accepted quite well, to be honest, as well. So we've got the Phantom Menace retro line, which includes all your favorite characters from the Phantom Menace.
They did mention this because it's when at MCM the panel, the Comic-Con panel at MCM, they did mention that because it's an anniversary year for the Phantom Menace, they're gonna push out a lot of product for the original the second trilogy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wasn't surprised by these at all.
Yeah, so it looks a cool little set. I mean, you get every single figure more or less from the film, which is great. So you get the Battle Droid, Jar Jar Binks, Darth Maul, Queen Amidala, and Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan. Just the obvious little boy missing from the set, but they don't like producing him. I don't know why.
Yeah,
they never like producing little Anakin.
No, but they've made a Black Series one, haven't they?
They've made a Black Series one, yeah. But speaking of Black Series, my favorite announcement was definitely the 3PO and Battle One droid, because that is just one that was a set I've been dying for years.
Yeah. While we're on that one, Stephen Butler in the chat has said that Battle Droid with 3PO head was a fail for army builders, because obviously, it's you can't army build. You just end up with a lot of 3PO heads if you're army building that set.
No, it's a big shame that they didn't include the head in it. But bear in mind, this is not a product reveal picture, is it? This is just a mock-up, a render. Yeah. So the finished product may still have the additional head, and it could be just hiding behind the figure. It could be on the bottom of the packaging. They just might not show that it's there. But they might. I'd be surprised if they didn't include one for that reason, because obviously, the whole point was as well that on the other side of it, you had the little head on top of 3PO's body. You know what I mean? So, unless that's the other side of it, they're going to... Oh, no, Hasbro, don't do that. Are they going to do that? Is that the other package that's coming later? We're going to get a B1 Battle Droid with the thing... Sorry, a 3PO body with a Battle Droid head on it?
No, I think this was a bit of a clever move on their behalf, because I don't think that C-3PO head would have sold on its own huge amounts. I think there would have been diehard fans that would have wanted it, but I don't think it would have sold huge amounts on its own. Whereas the other droid, people have been 3D printing that and all sorts for years, because it's a key part of that trilogy, isn't it? Like, you see them, it's not like a once and done sort of thing. Like they pop up throughout the film quite a bit, so people are going to want it for that. So I don't know. You never know, really. You never know with Star Wars.
Every time I did a 3PO review, I couldn't help myself but doing the "Die, Jedi Dogs." What am I saying? I'm terribly sorry.
Yeah. I like the little Django Fett though. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, Django looks cool.
Yeah.
It's a nice new little tiny Django Fett. But yeah, it's a vintage collection figure. It's coming as a what do you call it? Deluxe, do they call them? I'm not sure anymore.
Can't
I
remember
think they
what
call
the
them
word is.
deluxe, don't they? But I don't know why it's a deluxe though, other than the fact that it's got a jetpack and some fire accessories.
Yeah. All I'm thinking is that there might be a stand in there. If this is a digital render, they might put a stand in or something.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Comes with a
possible.
great big fire piece though. That's what the big box is all about. The big fire piece that you stick in his arm.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's got an unmaskable head. It looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
All these are going to be available spring 2024 and have various retail prices, which will be revealed later on for the UK market.
Yeah. Andy H in the chat. Welcome, Andy. You mean Jingo Fett as it's Christmas? Just quickly while we're loading up the other one, people talk about He-Man in the chat because I've mentioned He-Man. Stug said He-Man is a scary rabbit hole. So many amazing figures. Shelley has said I had all the He-Man figures as a kid. Not gone down that rabbit hole of collecting new ones yet. I actually recollected them at one point. I went down and went back and collected a whole bunch. And it's only because I got a load as a bundle, but they didn't have like the weapons and stuff. And so I went out sourcing the weapons and putting them all together and everything. And then I got into the play sets, and it literally got to the stage where I needed the Eternia play set to kind of complete my collection. And I wasn't spending that much money on something I never even had as a kid. So yeah.
Right, are we ready? It's big Marvel time.
There was a lot of Marvel. There was a lot of Marvel.
So we can do the entire stream, which is awesome. Are we ready?
Yep.
So the Hasbro Pulse fan stream was live today at 11 a.m. ET time, which was 4 o'clock our time. And the guys were in festive gear except Dwight because he's a Scrooge. First thing they showed off was this thing. What's it called? Red Widow. Red Widow. I know nothing about that character. I'm not gonna lie. She's not on my radar.
I'm not hugely familiar. I know who she is, but I'm not. It's after my time.
Yeah, something to do with Winter's Guard. They call them.
Yeah. I mean, it's a cool concept. It's a cool design. I like the cape. It's just a bit bizarre that the way that they've designed it, where you've just kind of got one boob on show. I just think it's a bit of a. But it is like when you look at when you realize that and you look at it,
you can't not see it.
You can't not see it. I'm like, that's a really odd design choice. But I like it. It's cool. It's cool. Yeah.
Iron Man.
They did say in the stream, this is not for your long-term collectors. You've got this figure on your shelf already. This is a repack. This is and they were quite upfront about it, this is the Mark 85 from obviously Marvel Studios Iron Man. And of course they're gonna push this one out as many times as they can because it was Iron Man's final suit, wasn't it, in the films? So
it was.
I like the boxes though.
The boxes are nice.
That's really frustrating. It's like you've got this figure already, but look at this new box.
But I see why they've done this box. It's eye catching. It makes you look at it. It's bright. It's colourful. So, like you said, if they're trying to attract a younger market here and trying to attract other toy people that aren't into Legends, is what they kind of said.
Yeah.
This isn't made for people that collect Legends on a daily. This is just people that to try and attract people into the line. So I see why they've done it, and it does look very eye-catching.
I think these look very not childlike. That's the wrong word.
I know what you mean, though. They're child-friendly.
My kids would be attracted to these packages.
Yes.
That makes
100%.
sense.
Yeah.
And the character choices they've put in.
So yeah, we've gone for Iron Man, and then they've gone for Spider-Man as well.
This frustrates me though, because they've still got it wrong with the cuffs. Like they've released this figure so many times and never got rid of those cuffs. Like never changed it. Like it looks different. Like it does look a little bit different, but I should have grabbed the 15 Iron Spiders that I've got, but I didn't. But yeah, they've kind of left them cuffs on, which is frustrating. But again, look at that in the box. It looks cool.
It pops, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does pop. But I think that these are made to be aimed at kids.
Yeah, I'm
Without
pretty
a
sure we're gonna. Yeah, I'm pretty sure in that line we're also probably gonna see Thor, Captain America.
Yeah.
I don't know who else. Maybe Doctor Strange and a Black Panther.
Yeah, I reckon so.
Round him out.
I reckon so. I reckon
That'd
so.
be
But
six, wouldn't it?
they've re-released these key kind of characters so many times. Like, if you think about it, we had the European blister card sets as well. Do you remember those ones?
Yeah.
Ended up in places like Asda and stuff. We've had them obviously as part of the Marvel Legends line. We've had them re-released in the Marvel Legends line and all that kind of stuff. I think the only dirty that they did on this one is they didn't include the legs, the Iron Spider legs, and you can only get the Iron Spider with the legs in that 2-pack, which I quite like. As a collector, I'm quite like, I do like sort of the exclusivity of certain things. But I think if they had included the legs in this one, it would have flown off, because you'd have all those people that didn't get the 2-pack.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that.
Yeah. But they do look like kids' toys. Oh, hang on, look. Stephen Butler again in the chat. 12-year-old nephew said, as we watch the stream, these look like kids' toys.
Yeah. And one thing that they didn't do, they deliberately didn't show us the back of the box.
Nope.
They made sure that box was front facing and you couldn't see it around him. So we don't know what else is in that range, but I'm guessing there's more.
I think it is a bit of a dangerous move, though, because they've essentially put the exact same figures that kind of adult collectors, as we like to call ourselves, we're toy collectors, we're big kids, come on, let's be honest, but adult collectors kind of like collect, and they've put them in very child friendly packaging, so it kind of makes a mockery of the, well, look, you're an adult collector, but we're going to put it in a
I don't know, because the thing is, kids today it's not like it used to be where kids were buying toys to play with massively anymore. Like kids now, I go to Comic Cons and there's kids with serious money dropping on like SH Figure Arts and proper serious like NECA figures, and and they've got some proper serious collecting figures going on, and I'm thinking this is like attracting a younger age demographic into the line, but they're still collector friendly stuff, so that the kids have something decent rather than a 5 POA rubbishy figure. It's like a proper good collector figure.
Oh yeah, I mean, when I was like 11, I was like playing with action figures and all sorts. Like, they're literally action figures in my pockets. I'd be over the park like having a whale of a time. But my son,
I think I was still playing with figures up until about 14. I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty sure I still played with WWE figures like properly until I was about 14.
I literally still play with figures. But my 11-year-old son has got some Marvel Legends, but he doesn't like play with them. He takes photos of them, he poses them, he has them on his shelf, like basically just sort of copies the stuff that I do. But yeah, you're right, it is different. But so maybe this is a way of aiming at a younger demographic, but still making it attractive. I don't know.
Like Paige, my daughter, she knows the difference between her like regular Barbies and the movie Barbie that she will not remove from box and it's staying on the shelf. She knows the difference between the price points, and she's 8.
Girl.
So I mean, she knows that. Like she said before, she says, "I'm not opening that one. That's Margot Robbie. That's staying in the box." Like
Dad,
she's got play Barbies and
fingerprints decrease the value. Like,
but I'm an unboxer, so that surprised me and threw me completely, because obviously I unbox even the expensive, Monster High ones, and she's like, "Why?" She's looking at me like cringing, like, "You should have kept that in the box, Dad." Anyway, moving on. I digress. So then we got to see the new Falcon.
Nice. Well, this technically it's Captain America. Let's see. Now
Cap Falcon.
Cap Falcon, yeah, Sam Cap. I like this one only because we've had this figure technically before. There are a few little tweaks that they've changed things with, but we didn't have the wings. That was the big thing.
It doesn't look like they've massively changed too much, though, does it?
No, they haven't changed a lot. The shield is obviously a new design.
Yeah, the shield's new, and the wings are new, and the back piece is new.
Yeah.
But the figure always had a slot on the back for something, didn't it? It just didn't come with anything, but it always had a little hole in the back, because so many of us then bought wings and painted them over the years and stuff they've put with him. Yeah.
There was there was a lot of people that 3D printed stuff and all that kind of stuff. And and they would 3D print these wings and whatnot. But these are nice, and there's a little bit of articulation in there, so you can obviously move them around. But yeah, I wasn't massively disappointed with this one. I was kind of like, you know what, that's a good shout. They didn't mention whether it was part of a wave or not, did they? They just showed it to us.
Yeah, they just kind of teased us with it and went, "This is a figure that's coming out."
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. But there's the digital render.
That's a cool pose, though.
That does look cool.
Yeah, and I like the fact that they've got the Sam Cap kind of logo in on the shield as well. I think, without looking, I think the chest piece looks different than the last one. I think the last one was painted, whereas this looks sculpted.
Yes, definitely. But I'm wondering whether this is going to be bundled in with
The head looks pretty much.
Yeah, I wonder if it's going to be bundled in with the figures for the new movie. Wonder if this is, because obviously it's all based around Sam, isn't it? The new film, so having the comic book Sam and then the movie Sam in the same wave would make sense.
Is that due out next year? No, it's 25, isn't it? Is it 24?
25?
That's due out?
Captain America. Oh, you're gonna make me Google now.
Yeah.
Captain America.
This photo threw me off a little bit because I saw it when it first came up. I was like, "That looks." It's 25. Okay. Yeah, this one threw me off a little bit because I was like, "That's cool pose," but then I looked at his feet and I was like, I can't work it out." Have they just taken a picture of him standing up and then they've just tilted it a little bit in post, or like, I don't know, but it's cool. But you can see that the wings have got enough articulation in them that you can get them into different poses. Unlike the first MCU Falcon figure we got, do you remember that one? Where it came with a stick on wings and you literally couldn't move them around, they just stuck out. Just that little bit of articulation makes a huge difference.
There's a lot of photos of this figure. There we go. It's going to be a Target exclusive in spring 2024.
Which is, spring 24, but still kind of in the run up to the new film coming out. So I don't think we'll have movie figures at that point, but it's a good one to kind of get people talking.
Yeah, the thing is, the films were all pushed back because of the strikes. How much of the production were Hasbro already into before those strikes took place? That's the question for next year. Are we going to see figures long before the movie and they're just going to have to shelve them, or are they going to just release them? That's the question. Are Hasbro going to sit on stock, or are they just going to remove certain figures from the line and release them anyway and then just release the spoiler figures later? I can't see them holding a lot of stock back for film that's not going out for another year when they've already made the figures. You know what I mean?
That's a very good point. I hadn't even thought about that.
So that's where the fun's going to be next year when it comes to toys.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is going to be from the same wave, I would have guessed. That's going to be from the same one, surely. Hydra Cap, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I really like this one. I kind of marked out a little bit for this one. I quite like the design of it.
Is this from the Secret Empire comic? Is that where that one's from?
Yes, I think, without double checking.
He did the Hail Hydra in that comic, didn't he? He turned against everyone.
Yeah. I'd have to double check where this exactly. I've not done my research before the show, but
it does look cool as hell.
It's still a very cool looking costume.
Yeah. Looks awesome.
Yeah. And it's built on the they said that it was built on the same body as the one that they did recently. So yeah.
I like the grimacing head as well, the grimacing face.
I think this will probably come with an alternate head. I would guess it would come with an alternate. Maybe not. They've released figures before where they're just stuck in one pose.
Yeah, this is a Walmart exclusive for spring 2024.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before we get on to the X-Men, just talking about what we were saying, Andy H has said, I know with Lego they have windows to release figures, which is why a lot of spoilers are found in the sets. Hasbro is either going to have to sit on them or spoil a lot of things.
Yep.
X-Men 97. Now, this one dropped early, didn't it? This dropped ahead of the stream.
Yeah, so Marvel.com dropped the announcement of the next line of X-Men figures for the X-Men 27 the night before.
And there was a lot of people talking about whether that was deliberate, whether that was intentional, but the fact that it came from Marvel I think that. I think it
Yeah,
probably was.
they had enough to announce as it was, but they were still showed them off on camera, and everyone still marked out for him. So I mean, I don't think
Yeah.
it didn't distinguish anything, did it?
No. And I quite like it. I quite like the fact that it's drip fed, because then people weren't looking at these as big reveals. They were looking at the other things as the reveals. So I quite liked having it drip fed in that respect. It's an interesting wave, though.
Yes,
It's an
just to
interesting
recap.
wave.
Yes, to
So
recap, this was wave 1, wasn't it?
Yeah. Now, wave 1 includes all your key players. So your Storm, your Rogue, your Gambit, your Wolverine, your Bishop, and your Magneto. And on all of the promo artwork, there's 6 characters shown. So I thought that wave 2 was going to be the next 6 characters that you saw that we didn't get included. But it wasn't.
Ooh,
Nightcrawler.
it's a Nightcrawler. I like the Nightcrawler, actually. It looks cool.
New head sculpt, pinless body, but pretty much the same design that we had before.
Yeah, there's only so much you can do with Nightcrawler, sadly, isn't there? Especially if you're going for the accurate comic book, or
Yeah.
I'm guessing X-Men 97 is going to be more comic book accurate, so it looks that way.
But it's meant to continue from where we left off, even though some of them have had like costume changes.
Takeovers.
The Nightcrawler figure is good. It really is good. It still holds up now. I think that the fact that they've made it pinless is a plus. I think this will probably replace a lot of people's Nightcrawlers on their shelf because of it being pinless, and because it is the same figure essentially. Any of those heads you've got from the previous one, because I think we got 3 heads in the last one. You could swap those heads out, so you've essentially got a pinless Nightcrawler with 5 heads. Yeah, but yeah, I like him.
Executioner.
This is an interesting one. You familiar with Executioner?
No, I know nothing about this character.
Okay, so in a nutshell, he's kind of like Batman. His dad was killed, but basically he's a human that uses like what they call the Shia. There's some, I think his armor's made out of tech from them, and he's the one he goes around killing mutants that have killed other people.
Interesting.
Yeah, so he's from the comic books. He's been around for quite a long time. He never made a huge, like, yeah, he's not new for the show.
Yeah.
But
I
think he's ex-military or ex-secret service or something like that. He's some kind of trained in combat, but yeah, he's a pretty cool character. But I think it's interesting that he's been included in this because I wonder who it is that he's going to be hunting.
Well, I think that might be answered in a little bit when we get further into the line.
Yeah, but some cool looking weapons.
But yeah, it's weird because I read nothing but X-Men comics growing up, and I don't think I've ever bumped into this character. If I have, I've totally forgotten about him, but I don't think I've ever bumped into this character.
He didn't come across. He looks quite comic book accurate, to be fair. Andy H said, "Please tell me his mother is called Martha." No, his father's called Martha. His father. Just thinking about it as well, I think the gun thing on his arm is something to do with Sentinel tech, if I remember rightly, or something. It's something like that. It's not the Shiar. I can never say it right. The SAAR. It's not them. That's his armor, but this is something else, and I think it's Sentinel tech. I can't remember, but yeah.
Magneto.
Yeah, this is cool. It's cool. I like it.
I'm glad that they just didn't go for because obviously they could have gone for the traditional red Magneto who we've already had 1,000 times. It's nice that they've gone for something a bit different.
Yeah, but it also means that Magneto's been included in wave 1 and wave 2. So we're going to see him in that traditional look at some point in the show, and we're going to see him in this look at some point in the show. I think what is cool is that with this figure, you've got 2 heads. You could essentially take the head off of the other one and have like an unhelmeted head now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was surprised to see Magneto in both waves. I'm not going to lie. He's the new Wolverine.
This looks pretty cool. I like that one. Then we got Jean Grey.
Cool. Yeah, I wasn't sold on this originally. I like my cell shaded one, but when I saw that alternate head, that hair down head, even the ponytail hair, but the heads kind of sold it to me. To be fair,
Do you not like the fact that the ponytail is now articulated? Swish, swish.
yeah. It's I think I'll probably be replacing my Jean with this one. But yeah, it's just a costume that we desperately wanted for so long, and now we've had like 3 or 4 versions of it in a space of time, and it's kind of like it's a shame. But yeah.
Cyclops.
Now I'm pleased about this one. Secretly,
Jeff,
really.
I thought you would have said the same thing about what you just said about Jean about Cyclops. We seem to have had an abundance of Cyclops in the last few X-Men waves.
But I didn't get any of them.
I suppose.
Literally, the red and yellow, the blue and yellow Cyclops that I've got in my collection is still the one from the Juggernaut wave.
Yeah.
That first one, and he's the one I've kept. Whereas this one could replace him. It's just perfect Cyclops, isn't it?
It is.
The head looks a little bit cartoony. I'm not going to lie. But the rest of the figure looks fantastic. That head with the blast looks really good. That pose, look at that.
Yeah, that's great. Good looking fig.
Yeah.
It's that same eyepiece that we've had 1,000 times, isn't it? They've not changed that up.
Yeah, it's if not, it's very similar. I think it might be different. I think it looks from here. It looks like Bumpy. I don't know.
Oh yeah, the Goblin Queen.
Now this one's really interesting.
Which means she's in the program.
Well, that was the first thing when I saw it. I was like, oh my gosh, like Goblin Queen's in X-Men '97. This got really interesting really quickly. But it's also a figure that we were told we weren't going to get.
Yep. And I've got to admit, the first thing I said as soon as I saw this figure was that cape. It's not the same one we've had previously. It's a brand new cape, which means they've reworked it, which for me means there's a couple of characters that could get re-released right around the corner now, including Santana. I've been hoping for a Santana for years.
Yeah.
That cape is literally Santana's cape.
Yeah, that would work. Yeah, I don't think that this is as like, because obviously for anyone that didn't know, Goblin Queen was one of the unlocked tiers in the Engine of Vengeance, which was the 2022 HasLab that didn't get funded. And it was very kind of demonic characters, wasn't it? But yeah, they said that basically the Goblin Queen is a character that they'd love to do, but they're not sure they could do it and all the rest of it, which in a way is a bit naughty because they must have known about X-Men '97 at that point. Like, it was being talked about all the way back then. So surely they would have had at least a character list maybe of people, but I don't know. But it's definitely a different version. Like, she doesn't look as real. She looks more animated. But who cares? It's Goblin Queen. Like, we're going to get a Marvel Legends Goblin Queen.
She's getting pre-ordered. The moment that pre-orders come out, she's getting pre-ordered.
Yeah.
She's going on my shelf.
She'd fit in your collection quite easily, wouldn't she?
So, the little baby.
Mm-hmm.
Think it's Baby Cable.
You reckon?
The comic books recently did that whole thing where they did the whole, the Cable as a kid again. I could see them using that storyline for X-Men '97. The Executioner as well would make perfect sense that he's hunting a baby version of Cable because Cable's done wrong.
Yeah.
And it's a time jumping kind of storyline.
Yeah. Do you know the first thing I thought of when I saw it?
What's that?
I used to do like a nativity setup with my figures, and the first thing I thought was, "There's a baby Jesus." I've got a baby for the green ones. Just didn't cut it. I haven't done one for a little while. That was the first thing I thought. I don't know if it's because it's Christmas time. I was like, I'm doing a nativity next year because I'll have this figure. But the baby's head looks articulated, or it
does. It looks odd.
Which is it's either in a pose or it's articulated. Is there any giveaway in the emblems on the blanket?
That's what I'm trying to work out from the thing, and I can't really see what that is. It looks like just the X-Men symbol, I think.
Yeah,
but there could be,
right,
but we just can't see them properly.
I think it's Cable.
It's a Summers of some description, because look at him, it's a Summers, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's definitely a Summers baby. Could be Havoc. Nah, too old.
He's older than Cyclops.
Cable would make sense. Cable would just make sense for it to be a time jumping storyline. Cable's done wrong in the previous cartoon, and there's some form of time jumpy storyline, and Goblin Queen's involved.
Yeah.
I was trying to see if they ain't got the press information on this one. Damn it. I was going to try and have a look, see if it said anything in the press information, but I doubt it would anyway. But
No.
so there's the wave. Interesting wave. I'm excited for it.
And they're all in boxes. They've got them in hand there. So, you know, pre-orders are going to... Pre-orders... Did they mention when pre-orders are going up?
No, they didn't announce that today. They said that's for another day.
No.
I reckon there's still more figures to be announced from that line. They're going to milk X-Men 97 for all it's worth.
Oh, 100%. Well, the fact that we've had 2 waves of figures and the show's not even aired yet.
Exactly.
That says it all. I think we've got at least another 2 waves in the bag. Right.
So,
I called this.
Wolverine. You did call it.
I called this, right? And if you actually go back and watch the interview I did with Ryan Ting in October, I specifically say to him, are we going to get a Wolverine 50th anniversary wave? And he said, there's a mini wave coming out in the spring and we're doing a fan stream in December. So it was all there. It was literally all there in that interview. But yeah, it's obvious. Next year marks 50 years of Wolverine. They've done 50 million Wolverines already. Why not give us a few more?
100%. Yeah, and we're gonna have a whole wave of Wolverines now. Which, if you were watching the live stream, there was a nice you could taste the salt in the air. It was lovely. So there were a lot of eye rolls at this line.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's some cool ones in there. Like the Brood Wolverine looks awesome.
Yeah, that's very cool. That's very cool looking. But again, it's very niche. Like, you know, it's a very cool looking figure, but it is quite niche. I think it'll make a lot of people happy. Other people won't care for it.
Yeah. What's that? That's randomly coming 2-packed with, I can never remember her name from the Shield. Lilandra.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Charles Xavier's bit on the side.
Yeah. Okay. So this line to me felt like, here's a new figure paired up with one you've had before.
Well, that's it. I mean, the funny thing is I did they gave us the Lilandra head with Charles Xavier riders. So you got her head and people made customs of her, including myself. And I actually recently got rid of it, funny enough. But the guy that 3D printed me the staff basically printed me that exact staff. So I'm probably just going to pick this one up to replace the one that I made and got rid of.
But yeah, I don't know. This wave felt weird to me. It looks nice. It's a nice figure, but we've already had it.
Well, the Lilandra we haven't, no?
No, but, you know, like you say, because of what happened years ago, everyone's had that head for a long time. It feels like she's been in the collection for years, even though she hasn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you.
It wasn't exciting to see.
No, anyone that wanted her kind of made her. Like it was, but this is the so one thing that Ryan did say to me when I interviewed him in October was that they do 2 anniversary waves a year. The one in the spring is like a mini anniversary wave to mark something, and then the one later on in the year is the bigger anniversary wave. So the fact that they've done just 4 2-packs to mark Wolverine's anniversary, that's classed as a mini wave, a mini thing. So yeah. The next one for me was the big one though.
Well, that's going to be Fan Channel Pulse. There we got this one.
This is the one. Like, forget about Cowboy Wolverine. I don't care about him. I'll give him away. But that Sabretooth is, well, it's what everyone's wanted. I mean, Wolverine's cool looking. It's, you know, it's Cowboy Wolverine. But again, we've seen him in shirt and trousers before.
That's the same trousers, bottom half we've had 1,000 times, isn't it? And then the top half is literally they've just put new arms on it. That flannel shirt thing we've had before. with the old man Wolverine stuff. They've just put some arms on it now.
It's
they've taken the jacket off this time.
yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's not. It's not amazing. I mean, it's
It's
cool. It's okay. But yeah, I mean, this again, it's a figure that probably wouldn't sell on its own very well. So they put in with Sabretooth.
Didn't we just get an updated Sabretooth, or was that a preview of this? I can't remember now.
There's
I feel like we've just had
other brands have done it. Other brands have done it.
Ah, okay.
Who's done it? But there have been a few. I mean, one thing that Marvel Legends has not done is given us a size accurate
sizable
Sabretooth.
Yeah.
And this is your comic book accurate Sabretooth. But he's pinned. That's what I really annoyed. I was kind of like, because he's basically on the Omega Red body, which to give you an idea for size. But yes, they've given us some updated ones recently. We had like first appearance Sabretooth recently, but he's very small and skinny. But yeah, that is the Sabretooth that everybody wants. The colouring, the fur collar. Yeah, it's a definitive Sabretooth.
I still think they could go bigger. I still don't think it's big enough.
Oh yeah,
it's nice.
Yeah,
it's not a nice big body, but I think they could still do a deluxe one later down the line that would be even bigger. That would look better.
Yeah, I
it's
agree.
Still not beefy enough for me there for Sabretooth.
I agree. I completely agree. But yeah, it's a thing in the right direction.
Yeah, definitely. And that face sculpt like that shot there is brilliant. I love that.
It's a good shot. There we go. Got a shout out to Fuzzy Dunlop. Love that name. Mondo did a fantastic one recently. Yeah. So Mondo was the one that you're thinking of that we saw pictures of.
Cool. Yes, these are all going for pre-order. There you go. 15th of the 12th.
Yeah.
This one flew me because it's Psylocke.
Yeah.
Basically, but we've had that Wolverine just without the black line across his face.
Oh no, that Wolverine is garbage. Like, no offense to the Marvel Legends guys, but it was, yeah, it was okay at best. It was like, okay, I collect Wolverine, so I'll get the ninja one anyway. This was Dwight's favorite figure, he said. But I'm just not fussed. I'm really not fussed about it. Yeah, Psylocke as the Mandarin. She's got the 10 rings. Yeah, I'm not fussed. It's not a corner of the comic books that I was particularly invested in.
For me, this figure, this shot shows it off of what I mean. This figure to me always felt blocky. It never felt like a smooth looking figure. It always felt like a Roblox or like a Minecraft inspired figure. Look at it's just building blocks.
Yeah. It
doesn't look like a human anatomy. It looks weird.
And what they've said as well is that they've made it pinless now and stuff like that. But I'm just kind of like, if you're gonna re-release something and make it pinless, do a figure that people care about. Like this Wolverine just isn't. There's not much you can do with it. It's very specifically that version of Wolverine. So yeah, I wasn't overly fussed.
This was one that saved the whole thing for me, to be honest. I wasn't blown away by anything.
See, I was really underwhelmed by this.
Really? This was the first one that made me go, "Oh, this is quite cool," because I've always wanted that version of Fix-It. So
I've been wanting this duo since like 2015, 16. Do you know what I mean? So I'm kind of just over it now. I'm like, I think now, because for me personally, now that I've got to the stage where I'm kind of selective on the legends that I put into my collection, this doesn't make the cut.
Yeah.
It looks good. But I also made customs of them years ago and had them on my shelf for a while. And, you know, you can't really go that wrong with a white tuxedo. Like, it's, you know, it is what it is. But I think a lot of people are going to be pleased with this one.
Yeah. It does look like it's the same. That the best piece of use on that's the Kingpin one, isn't
it? Quite possibly.
Looks like the Kingpin's vest.
Quite possibly. That's what I built my custom one on. Yeah. But I think with the recent Joe Fix-It figure coming out and the Wolverine anniversary coming up, this was an obvious. Yeah. This was one that was obviously on the cards. ironically as well, you've just reminded me by showing the back of the box. They made a big deal out of the fact that these box artworks are going to be on comic books. So the Wolverine box art that you can see there is actually going to be on variant covers of issues of the comic books, which is ironic when it comes out at the same time that they've announced page punchers, and now the artwork from the boxes is going on comics. Is there a pattern there to sniff out, or is it just a bizarre coincidence?
I reckon, yeah. As I said at the top of the show, if it does well, they'd be daft not to cash in on the whole page punchers idea. Especially as McFarlane's doing the bulk of the work as well for them. All they have to do is allow it.
Yeah.
But this was the a lot of people's savior of the show, wasn't it?
Yeah. So they saved this one. They did their draft picks, which I quite enjoyed. To be fair, it's quite cheesy, but basically they kind of pick out a team of their favorite legends across the franchise across the brand.
I think those are in here. I think they're just further down. I think
for the year.
Oh, no,
Yeah, there they are.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Yeah. So yeah, one of them was comic, one of them was build a figure, one was MCU, one was a multi-pack, one was a wild card. And then they basically pick their lineup, and then you have to kind of decide whose team you think is the strongest.
Do you know what? We're gonna have to save that as a template, and we're gonna have to wipe off the names. And you know what? We're gonna have to do that for our end of year show, I think.
Yeah.
Comic, build a figure, MCU, multi-pack, and wild card, legends. I reckon we should do that for the end of year show.
Yeah, okay,
cool. and do our picks.
Yeah, cool. We can do that. We'll do that. And then obviously keeping it until the end, they said that there was another reveal coming at the end, and it of course was Angel in his red and white, not his blue and white.
Yeah, which irritates the shit out of me.
Did it annoy you?
We should be. All the other figures are blue. All the other figures are blue. Why couldn't you have given him them blue just to match all the other figures to make him look nice and uniformal?
Because the hype is real, and everyone will run out and buy this one, and then once it's arrived on everyone's doorstep, they'll announce the blue version.
And then we'll get the X-Force version.
Oh yeah, well he did have a red and a blue suit, didn't he? So they're both kind of comic book accurate, but yeah, I think if you put the blue one out first, less people would buy the red one. But I think the other way around, people are going to buy it. But it's cool. I like it. It's a nice figure.
Yeah, definitely. It
looks
cool.
A bit late for me. I made an Angel figure. I've actually got the wings here. So these were DC figure. I think they were a Hawk Girl or something, but they're like 3-point articulated. And so I made an Angel figure using these wings. My lights are a bit bright, so I've kind of had a winged Angel on my shelf before. So yeah, this excited me, but
this would have excited me if I was still heavily into Legends and I was still marking out over the X-Men. I think I would have massively jumped on it. But the fact that I'm kind of not into the Marvel Legends now as much, I'm probably not going to pick it up at this point. But
the funny thing for me, when it comes to Angel, the one that I relate to the most is Archangel. Like that's the one I think of when I think of the cartoon, when I think of the comic book. I think of him as Archangel because it was just a very 90s thing, wasn't it? Like, let's just take this character, paint him blue, and give him lots of metal. It's just like give him a kick-ass name. But yeah, so I just think of Archangel. So in all my X-Men displays, I've got like Archangel as part of it. So I don't think I'd replace Archangel in my display with Angel.
Yeah, definitely.
But he does look good. It's a good figure. I thought it was an all right stream. I'm not going to lie. I think it was a good one to round out the year. I think they did end on a high.
Oh, definitely. I think they've done well. It's a good end of year show for them.
Yeah,
got some nice figures revealed there to keep us going over Christmas.
Yeah, massively. Are there any that you're definitely going to jump on board with?
Definitely going to be grabbing Goblin Queen, she's definitely going to be in my collection.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'm struggling with the rest of them. They're all right, but I don't do Legends that much anymore. So for me, they're kind of just nice to look at.
They're just pretty.
They're just pretty. Like I got Blade recently. I love the Blade. Blade's amazing.
Good figure, right? It is a good figure. I think I'll probably pick up the X-Men 97 wave and kind of cherry pick out of that which ones I like for my X-Men collection. But yeah, apart from that, Sabretooth, I wouldn't mind getting my hands on. But apart from that, I'm not really overly fussed about them.
So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what the new year brings and what, because obviously, like we're saying at the top of the show, the film market has slowed down, but I'm guessing Hasbro and toy companies would have still had some form of input on the toy stuff, and it'll be interesting to see what happens now release-wise with it all. It's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, no, I do agree.
So they've thrown their marketing completely out of whack when you think about it, because they're like, MCU are going to be like, no, don't release anything. So they're going to have to like try and pull things forward that they were going to have later in the year and try and swap things around.
Yeah,
and it'll seem very odd.
I'm just trying to think now. It was Guardians the Galaxy and not Moon Knight, Ant-Man, wasn't it? That switched.
Yeah.
Was it this year?
Last year.
Was this
Yeah,
year?
this year.
That they switched around their release dates, and because of that, it caused the whole thing, didn't it? Because we got all the figures from Guardians of the Galaxy released
really
before
early.
The film was out, and then the Ant-Man film came out, and we still didn't have figures for it. So, yeah, my now that you've mentioned that, I'm just kind of trying to think of what the slate looks like and how that might affect things. But I think you're right. That could really be a big hiccup. I mean, the big film obviously is going to be Deadpool 3. That's the big one, and I think that's all still set for the same kind of time slot.
Definitely. I'm just having a quick look. The movies that are due out in 2024, the films that will release, we've got Madam Web, Deadpool 3, and Kraven the Hunter, and Venom 3. So it's a heavy Sony year next year. The MCU kind of gets a break next year a little bit.
Yeah. And Marvel Legends haven't done a huge amount with the Sony figures.
No, and I'm intrigued to see what happens there. Then, so we're gonna have a lot of Marvel releases at cinema. Are they gonna finally let us have some figures from those lines, or maybe they'll release a bunch of comic book figures inspired by kind of thing?
Yeah,
It'll be interesting to see what they do.
I think there has to be a Deadpool wave. There has to be. Like they just can't not.
Here we go. Okay, so I've just found the thing. Right, here we go. So the untitled Deadpool movie, known as Deadpool 3, previously stated was going to be on the 3rd of the 5th, 24, is now the 26th of the 7th, 24.
That's what, 2 months.
So that was pushed. Right. Yeah, so that's been pushed back. Captain America: Brave New World. Yeah, this is the thing, because I was on about.
Yeah.
That salmon stuff. Well, the film originally was going to be coming out July of next year, and they've pushed it back a whole year.
So that could throw the toy production into a bit of a mix.
Them comic book ones at least could have been the ones that were due out.
Yeah.
And then you got Thunderbolts. They were previously stated for the 20th of the 12th, 24, and have now been pushed back to the 25th of the 7th, 25. So they've been pushed back nearly a year.
Mm-hmm.
So again, there could have been obviously the Thunderbolts. I think we've mainly seen all the characters previously in other films, so it wouldn't massively ruin it by releasing the figures. But yeah, again, that could throw everything out of whack.
Yeah. A couple of people in the comments just saying the MCU needs a break. We need to have less MCU content, and I kind of agree. I do kind of agree. I think if they take a bit of a breather and not give us as much in 2024, it could kind of create kind of want and need and sort of from the audience. And we're going to get a load from Sony. So
yeah, I was going to say, I wonder, that's the thing. Will people distinguish the difference? Are people still going to feel Marvel fatigue because Marvel's not really going anywhere, but it's just different studio releases?
Yeah,
it's like people saying the MCU needs a break, but will they still feel like that? Because we're going to have technically a year without MCU, but we're still getting Marvel movies. It's odd, isn't it?
But Deadpool's technically MCU.
Technically.
because he's now come over, and that's, you know, so it is because it's the whole Fox buyout and all that kind of stuff. Stug in the chat as well has said about Echo figures, which is a very good point. We got Echo coming out in less than a month, and we haven't had a sniff of figures. I must admit, before the stream, I thought that that's what we were going to see. I thought we were going to see like 1 or 2 Echo figures. But it's interesting that they've not even kind of put one out there yet.
Well, normally they do Disney Plus as a wave, don't they?
Yeah.
Let's have a look. So Disney Plus shows for Marvel 2024, we're looking at X-Men 97, Agatha Darkhold, and Echo.
No. Okay. X-Men 97 got their own waves. Agatha, we've already had an Agatha figure recently, so I don't know.
Yeah, so yeah. Unless they could just do an Echo wave then, really, couldn't they? Because obviously because Agatha and Echo are at opposite ends of the year. Echo's coming up quite soon, and then Agatha's like back end of the year.
No, I think it's going to be a comic book heavy year for Marvel Legends with some Sony figures thrown in.
That'd be cool if we get some Sony figures. I'd be up for that.
I think that's what will happen. And I think that when it comes to the Venom film, I think they'll probably go back and we might get a Carnage. They'll be working out some deal. If they're partnering with McFarlane, they're going to be partnering with Sony. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's a strong possibility.
Yeah,
definitely 100%. A strong possibility. And I think we've also got Electro and Lizard from No Way Home that they've said are coming at some point in the year. So we've got that. So I could imagine Lizard maybe being a deluxe figure, but I would think that Electro would probably be a standard figure. So there's potentially another 5 or 6 figures from movies or No Way Home that we might get. So they've got a plan. They've got a plan.
Right. I think that kind of rounds us out.
I think it does. Not a bad little Geek Week Plus. As I said, this is, as we said at the beginning, this is just us jumping on for no particular reason other than to just talk about some of the stuff that's happened, because we won't get a chance to do it in the main show. But anyone that is still around, make sure you tune in on Sunday, because we have the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Steve Evans joining us. Mr. Stevie 18. He's always a whole bunch of fun to have on as a guest, so we're really looking forward to it. And it's kind of like our end of 23 show with him. So we're going to talk about some stuff. And there's a couple of little announcements that he's got going on as well that he wants to kind of push on the show as well. So that's really cool. And that'll just be the same time, same place on Sunday.
Same bad time, same bad channel.
But yeah, that was it. I think we covered everything. If we did miss anything that's come on, that's come out this week, let us know in the comments. If you're watching this on replay, let us know in the comments if there's anything we missed, and we'll do our best to pick it up on Sunday. But yeah, as we said, this is Geek Week Plus. Who knows when the next Geek Week Plus is going to be? Might be tomorrow, might be 2 weeks from now. But the cool thing is that it's got its own intro, it's got its own branding, and it's just this bonus little show. But yeah, that's it. Cool. Sorrell, anything you want to say?
It's 20 to 12. I want to go to bed. Let's do this.
Is it? Keep it geek, everyone.